What's up, everybody? Chester Airby Church Devotional Podcast. Thanks for being with us. We'll get started. Mitch brings us in.
Cheers each winding path I tread. Gives me grace for every trial. Feeds me with the living bread.
Amen. Indeed, the Lord does feed us with the living bread as we come before His Word now. He feeds us with the living bread. 1 Samuel chapter 2, the prayer of Hannah. And Hannah prayed and said, My heart exults in the Lord. My horn is exalted in the Lord. My mouth derides my enemies, because I rejoice in your salvation. There is none holy like the Lord, for there is none besides you. There is no rock like our God. Talk no more so very proudly. Let not arrogance come from your mouth. For the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty are broken, but the feeble bind on strength. Those who are full have hired themselves out for bread, but those who are hungry have ceased to hunger. The barren has borne 7, but she who has many children is forlorn. The Lord kills and brings to life, and he brings down to Sheol and raises up. The Lord makes poor and makes rich. He brings low and he exalts. He raises up the poor from the dust. He lifts the needy from the ash heap, to make them sit with princes and inherit a seat of honor. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and on them he has set the world. He will guard the feet of his faithful ones, but the wicked shall be cut off in darkness. For not by might shall a man prevail. The adversaries of the Lord shall be broken to pieces. Against them he will thunder in heaven. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. Then Elkanah went home to Ramah, and the boy was ministering to the Lord in the presence of Eli the priest. As Hannah devotes herself to the Lord, she gives her son to the Lord as well, her son Samuel to the Lord, and he is working alongside of Eli. He is ministering to the Lord in the presence of Eli the priest, and so the young boy is given to the Lord to be used for the glory of the Lord, his services to be used for the glory of the Lord, for the young man is to be dedicated to the Lord. This particular section of 1 Samuel chapter 2 has to do with Hannah's prayer. Hannah's prayer of thanksgiving after she has gone to worship the Lord and honored the promise that she made to the Lord and gave Samuel to the Lord and under the watchful eye of Eli at the temple or at the tabernacle of Shiloh. Hannah prays to the Lord. She starts by saying, My heart exalts in the Lord. My horn is exalted in the Lord. My mouth derides my enemies because I rejoice in your salvation. The horn of strength, the horn of plenty, exalts in the Lord, and she receives salvation in abundance from the Lord. Her heart is taken over by the joy that she feels and understands from the salvation she has received. Then she moves in and says, In my exaltation I recognize there is none holy like the Lord, for there is no one besides you, for there is no rock like our God. You are holy, you are alone, you are our God. Talk no more so very proudly. Let not the arrogant come before you and come from your mouth, for the Lord is the God of knowledge. We don't know anything, but the Lord knows everything. We rest in him, for the Lord is a God of knowledge, and by his actions all things are weighed. By him are our actions weighed, and so he is the judge who judges all things. The bows of the mighty are broken in the presence of God, but the feeble bind on the strength of the Lord. So we have a series of paradoxes. The bows of the mighty are broken, but the feeble bind in strength. Those who are full have hired themselves out for bread, but those who are hungry no more. The barren has borne 7, but she who has many children is forlorn. For the Lord kills and brings to life. He brings down the Sheol and raises up. So this series of paradoxes talking about how the Lord is at work and gives the reverse of, quote, the fortunes, the reversal of fortunes to those who trust in him, those who rest in him. And she obviously is a living testimony of this particular part of God's character. She was barren, now she has a son. And the joy of her heart is in the Lord, and she gives him to the Lord. And so the Lord fills her up. The Lord fills her full in his grace and his mercy. When you and I receive and understand how much God has given to us, then we understand what it means to follow him. We understand what it means to be joy-filled in him. And our prayers will take on a very similar type of refrain as that of Hannah. And I think that's the lesson for us today, is that Hannah prays the full heart, comes before the Lord because she counts the blessings that he gives to her, namely in the son of Samuel, giving him to the Lord to be used to the Lord, but honoring the Lord in not only her life, but in the life of her son and the dedication of her son to the Lord. And so we see a beautiful thing here, just challenging us to think about praying in these ways as well. Do we think of God in the same way that Hannah thinks of God? Are we dedicated to him? Do we understand that our joy comes from him and him alone? You guys have a great day. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.
You care.